For decades, the mention of Area 51 has conjured exactly one image: captured extraterrestrials and reverse-engineered flying saucers hidden away in the Nevada desert. While the public focused on fiction, the classified operations inside this restricted zone were determining the real-world balance of power between the world's two nuclear superpowers. In the early 1950s, the United States found itself in a tense standoff with the Soviet Union. The Cold War was escalating rapidly, and American intelligence had a massive, dangerous blind spot when it came to Soviet military capabilities. President Dwight D. Eisenhower issued an urgent mandate. The U.S. desperately needed a way to look behind the Iron Curtain from the sky without getting shot down and sparking a nuclear war. Area 51 originated as a strategic asset for Eisenhower, designed to provide the intelligence necessary to prevent a surprise nuclear strike. To build this new class of spy plane, the CIA partnered with Lockheed's aeronautical genius, Clarence Kelly Johnson. Their first task was finding a testing facility so remote it couldn't be tracked. They settled on Groom Lake, a massive dry salt flat in the southern Nevada desert. Surrounded by harsh mountains, it offered total isolation from Soviet spies and the American public alike. Constructing the Skunk Works testing base here required extreme logistics. Workers and engineers were shuttled in under heavy anonymity and forced to live on site for extended periods, entirely cut off from the outside world. Inside the perimeter, strict compartmentalization ruled. Personnel only knew the specific details of their own tasks, and to avoid visual detection by satellites or onlookers, the most sensitive aircraft were only rolled out under the cover of darkness. Through this ruthless architecture of security and isolation, the government transformed a barren patch of desert into the hidden epicenter of the most highly classified engineering projects in human history. The primary mission that defined its early days at Area 51 was the rapid development of a revolutionary reconnaissance aircraft, the U-2. Getting this experimental plane off the ground in 1955 required immense human courage. Test pilots took on extraordinary risks flying unproven airframes over Groom Lake. The U-2 achieved an extreme cruising altitude of over 70,000 feet, well above the reach of Soviet surface-to-air missiles. From this elevation, it safely glided over foreign airspace, capturing high-resolution photographs of military installations without interference. The successful testing of the U-2 gave the United States clear, high-resolution photographs of Soviet missile sites, ending the era of total intelligence blackout. But this aeronautical success had a massive unintended consequence. These test flights triggered an explosion of civilian UFO sightings throughout the 1950s and 60s. When cruising at 70,000 feet at dusk, the Earth's curvature plunges the ground into darkness, while the aircraft still catches the setting sun. To a civilian below, the reflective fuselage looked like a glowing orb moving at extreme speeds. The confusion only deepened as even stranger experimental aircraft began rolling out onto Groom Lake. In 1962, the A-12 took flight, an elongated, hypersonic jet with a flattened, heavily swept profile that looked nothing like a traditional airplane. By 1981, they were testing the F-117 Nighthawk. Its radical, geometric shape was designed to evade radar, but to human eyes, it looked undeniably alien. The military's aerodynamic solutions were simply so far ahead of public comprehension that everyday people genuinely mistook cutting-edge human engineering for extraterrestrial physics. The intelligence gathered by these flights provided the United States with invaluable data on Soviet missile installations, securing a massive strategic advantage during the height of the Cold War. But these missions were never entirely safe. That became glaringly obvious to the world in 1960, when pilot Francis Gary Powers was finally shot down over Soviet airspace, exposing the U-2 program and triggering an international crisis. Despite that exposure, the work at Groom Lake pressed on. The innovations forged there laid the foundation for modern military doctrine, birthing stealth technology and paving the way for today's high-altitude drone warfare. As the public obsessed over extraterrestrials, the government made a calculated pivot. They let the alien rumors flourish, realizing that UFO conspiracy theories served as a perfect, distracting smokescreen for their aerospace testing. The government allowed the public obsession with aliens to flourish, recognizing that the myth of the flying saucer provided a highly effective, ready-made distraction for their actual experiments.